Hey guys, what is going on? This is the Madman commentary for True Detective EP02, Season 1. So we're just going through the intro here. I haven't done a commentary on this for a bit, so forgive me if I forget some shit, but we're going to do our best. I mean, I've seen this a bunch of times because it's one of my favorite series. There are certain TV series that are fundamentally universally praised. Deadwood is one of them. The Sopranos is another. The Wire. These are all great TV shows, which you should check out if you have the time and the ability to do so. I would say that the first season of this show is also up in that kind of echelon, that kind of tier. It's very good. Check it out if you can. And use my commentary to motivate yourself to watch it. So because I'm lazy, these commentaries are going to go through the opening theme. It makes it easier for me to align my commentary with a totally not torrented version of this show, which includes the theme. I'm not going to bother to fucking edit out the opening theme. Like, why the fuck would I do that, you know? I'm not being paid to do this. I'm doing this for free. So, we have Rust thinking about women. Thinking about his wife and daughter. He's like, sorry, give me more beer. And these two detectives, they're sort of trying to fuck with this guy. They're trying to sort of get him to admit something where they could use him as a mark, even though he has nothing to do with the crimes. Their job is to find the guy who did it, even if it's not true. That's a corporatized, militarized version of justice that this movie criticizes, is that detectives are incentivized to find a person to be blamed for something, whether they did it or not. The act of explaining an act of violence or evil is more important than the truth. And that's evil in and of itself. That is a mark of a decaying society that should be burned to the ground. So, you have another flashback here. Him and Marty going to this whorehouse. And at the same time, they're also visiting a woman whose son is part of this narrative. So this poor fucking dry cleaning woman is so self-sacrificing by nature. She's saying, I should have given them everything. I should have done more. I could have done more. And it's like, you're rotting away. You're dying. How could you have done more? But she does give them some insights into some creepy shit, We have this shot of the statue of Mary, and then a shot of antidepressants, shot of a bunch of creepy people in masks and hoods riding horses. I thought things were fine, but I didn't realize that my husband and my children were a part of some creepy cult, and I had no power to do anything, so I just rot away like a retard. But, this poor character, right? She's presented as some kind of sympathetic character. She has chemical damage from working in dry cleaning. She has headaches, like migraines. And migraines are like, if you haven't had migraines, I can't describe to you what they're like. I've only had 2 or 3 in my life, probably just 2. They are the worst. They are like being brain raped, not metaphorically, but physically. They are extremely painful. It feels like some Havana syndrome bullshit. But anyway, here we have Marty and Rust back in the car. And Marty's not giving him anything. He's being very closed off, you know. Who would blame him? And Marty's such a meathead ape brain. He's like, my dad was smaller than me. He was shorter, so I could have punched him, and I would have felt superior. Duh, duh, duh. He's such a retard. You know, he's like, oh, my dad was a NAM vet, but I could have fought him. I could have been in NAM. Could you, dude? Man. Anyway, enough about that. This is where Rust is right. Or where Marty is right, excuse me. Where he says Rust needed a family. He needed support. And he didn't want to admit to that. And that was a detriment. That was a flaw. That was a weakness for him. This chick who's drinking some sort of gasoline hooch. Probably Ron Perlman made it for her. That shit is not easy to come by, bitch. Only drink it when Matthew McConaughey and his half-brother, made by his assassin father, who was a Hollywood mob assassin. I fucking can't even do it, man. Look it up for yourself. What I'm referring to is there's a meme in real life where Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey are actually related. They're half brothers. That's probably true. Given how insane reality is, that's the least insane thing you could speculate on. But that doesn't matter. We're talking about this fake story. Every person's religious except you, amazing atheist, you fucking prick. Yeah, did you have your daughter die and your wife leave you within the same instant? Same couple weeks? Yeah, I'd be able to keep my religion if that happened to me. I'd be a pious Chad. So he says something important here. Russ does. He says, this killer is invoking certain symbols specifically. He's intentionally putting the effort in to symbolically marking his kill. That's important. And what Marty doesn't get is what Rust has derived from all his creepy books, that there are certain symbols or sets of symbols that are important. Days like lost dogs. God damn, man. Waking up under the cross. Nothing's changed. Your sacrifice has done nothing. Marty's the same. Marty has a certain kind of commitment to his life, and he's willing to sacrifice himself for it. You know, these two characters, the reason they're so exquisitely developed in this, and they're so fucking well done, is that despite their alternate paths in life, they're both equally committed to fighting evil. That's the point. And they do it in different ways, and they sacrifice different things to do it. But the point is that they're aligned morally. And finally here Marty is like, why didn't you leave? You know, you were drunk out of your mind. I gave you an out. Why didn't you take the out? God, I want a fucking cigarette right now, man. God damn. He's never told him this. He's never admitted it. I mean, if the secret societies have any legitimacy in terms of their idea of brotherhood, it's that you tell people this beforehand, and it saves everybody time. It saves everybody effort to just know this shit, you know. And I'm not advocating for that. I'll never join one of those societies. I'll start my own before I join one. Fuck them all, you know. But you know, to Rust's credit, he's like, I was fucking anxious, man. Like I didn't know how I would react being around your family. I'd be jealous of you. And then here we fast forward about 15 years. There's a lot of movies and TV series that play with time jumping, like, we're going to jump between time period 1 and time period 2 and time period 3. It's an epic meme. This series, this particular one, the first season, it does that in a way that is justifiable because it makes use of it narratively. To develop the characters, you almost have to see them out of time. And the fact that the series also dabbles in occult, Lovecraftian, Robert W. Chamesian kind of conceptions of time, that's sort of a cherry on top. But the series makes it a boon or a bonus, where a lot of series lean on it as a crutch. And Rust's like, you know what? I live in the country and I drink, and my spiritual substance is alcohol. Alcohol and nicotine are all I need to connect with the divine. And personally, I'm the same. You know, I sympathize with Rust in this. And despite his understanding of himself, he nevertheless tries to provide some kind of help to the rest of humanity, to the rest of our embodied squid people that have crawled their way up out of the ocean and incepted their way into human brains. You know, Rust is content with just saying, look, I made it here. I've done my best to be a detective, and I reached a point where nobody gave a shit about my insights. Nobody cared. And here we have Marty, the good boy, you know, the epitome of the good boy. He's a good dog. He obeys his commands from his masters and gets treats for doing his little pee-pees and poo-poos. Oh, what a good doggy he is. You know, he's comfortable in that role. Marty's not comfortable in that role. He never will be. Or rather, Rust is, excuse me. Rust is never comfortable in that role. Marty is the good dog. He is like, I get it. I get the system. I have to pretend to be a dog, even if I'm not, you know. And the drawback of this is he betrays his family. He fucks whores because he gets into the dog brain, canine, canid, serious constellation kind of mentality where he's like, well, I can be an alpha male too, you know? Whereas Rust is more like a cat. A cat is a very subtle, solitary creature that does what it needs to do to survive and conserves its energy. It seems lazy, but when you look at the laziness from the correct angle, you realize that cat-brained people are just conserving energy. They're just being economical. Somebody like Marty is a dog-brained person. He is someone who wants to hump some legs. And if his wife is being a prude, he's going to look for this chick, who is a younger version of his wife. My God, you know, how much more obvious can the movie make it? It's almost like the show rather, wants you to see it as blindingly obvious. It's not trying to hide it from you. It's trying to blast it into your eyes. Marty is a dog-brained type of guy. He has certain proclivities, certain weaknesses, certain impulses that he needs to direct. And Rust can direct them into research and solitary shit. He can jack off in his own apartment, whatever. But this guy, he needs a person. He's a dog-brained individual, which is not a bad or a good thing, but he is just as unfamiliar with his weaknesses as Rust is, and that is what this series says. It says, here's a guy who's found an outlet with this girl, but he can't maintain it. He's too much of a fucking spurg to say, this is just sex. I'm even weirder. I'm a Vampiroteuthis Infernalis. I can't fuck someone unless it's a profound, romantic, soul-killing or soul-reviving experience. I can't be intimate with anybody unless I'm personally involved with them. That doesn't mean that that's the right way to exist. What this show shows you is that, you've got these different characters. They're from different persuasions, different backgrounds. They have different personality types. They want different things, and they channel those wants or those desires into different channels. And here we have Marty's attempt to channel this shit. And for a while it works. And in the same way, Rust's version of this works too, up to a point. But both Marty and Rust will fail in their attempts, respectively, to channel their carnal desires. They will fail to find an effective outlet. Now, here we have a really good scene. This is Marty saying, here's where I have my fucking LSD flashbacks. This is where I freak the fuck out. And I'm just gonna leave the show to show you shit for a sec. This is some crazy shit. Yeah, get behind the wheel. I'm sure you're fit to drive, my bro. 4 years undercover, man. If you're doing a graduate or really any kind of graduate degree, the texts you're reading are probably going to expose you to shit like this. And we don't acknowledge that these days in academia. But you don't have to take LSD or DMT or weed or whatever. All you have to do is read some disturbing books. That's all it'll do to turn you into a brain-fried, useless idiot. There's useful idiots, and there's there's useless ones. If you're going to be an idiot, personally, I'd rather be a useless one. I'd rather spite the people that led me down this dark path. But, here's Rust, right? He's in a whorehouse. He's in a hotel. He's like, I want some sleeping pills, bitch. I don't want fucking meth. I don't want anything like that. I want some fucking sleeping pills. And she's like, meth's easier to get because I deal with truck drivers who beat the shit out of me. Welcome to reality. This is reality. Whores fucking truck drivers who are on meth. That's 2024. We don't live in the Blade Runner dystopian AI future. We live in 1950. Shit has not changed as much as people want you to think it has. And part of that whole fake change bullshit is a sort of con to get you to behave a certain way or to think certain thoughts. Reality is not that different. And she's basically like, I love the term whiskey limp. She's like, these guys are so drunk they can't get their dicks hard. They're so fucked up. You know, they're so traumatized by whatever happened to them, they can't even have sex. And then when they can't, they get angry. And I have to be the punching bag for these retarded NPC golem men. What a fucking life, man. And he's like, I'm just trying to solve a crime, bitch. I'm not trying to fuck with you. And that's off-putting to her. To encounter a man who's not trying to take advantage of her is weird and scary to her. Like, she's so used to men being pieces of shit that she looks at real men who have jobs and vocations and moral codes and says, you seem creepy to me. I'm going to be creeped out by you. What a fucked society we live in. That men are held to a low standard. That's what this movie says in part, is if you're not some kind of demonic piece of shit, you're going to be looked at as if you're weird. Can you imagine the hell of showing up in a place like this and trying to get a girl? Trying to figure out if a girl is going to be right for you. And she has been so raped and corrupted by shit men, shit partners, that your very presence, your very existence as a potential wooer is so off-putting to her because you're not sufficiently fucked. You're not sufficiently evil. You're not sufficiently a piece of shit. You know? I'm going to be Rust when I'm older, man. I swear to fuck, I'm going to be some guy who just drinks and looks at nature, because I can't handle this shit. I can't pretend to be a fucking corrupted, dumbass, retard idiot. I won't do it. I won't suspend that play. I won't play that role. I can't do it. If that means I don't get to have any fucking pussy, if I don't get to have a girlfriend or a wife, I don't care. I will die for that, because this is horse shit. So again, we have this typical miscommunication between this girl and Marty, where she's like, you just want to eat my ass, but not actually eat it. I mean, she's beautiful, she's aesthetically pleasing, she's a very attractive female form. Does that mean I want to give up my life for her? Are you fucking kidding me? I'd rather be Rust 100 times out of 100 than be Marty. Because Marty's done some actual work. He's given up personal things. He's given up his soul to try to help people. Whereas Marty, he cares about his family, good man, but if his job is to sacrifice his personal life and opinions for his job, he's not done it. He is not doing his job. And this is where Rust says, look, dude, you smell like fucking whore pussy. And he's like, my nose. He's like, dude, I'm trying to help you, man. This locker room shit. Donald Trump couldn't survive in this locker room, man. He'd get fucking killed. I love this scene, though, man. He's like, I'm using my fucking brain to know that you've been with a whore last night. And fucking Rust, he was trying to warn Marty. He was trying to help him. He was trying to say, dude, if you want your wife to not know about this shit, don't be so fucking obvious. He's trying to help him as one guy to another. Whether you think that's right or not, it might not be. But he's like, I've used my Krav Maga to grab your hands, and I will break your wrists and make you unable to do your job if you don't fuck off. So Rust has memorized feminine deceptive tactics and applied them to his physical loadout. He is a master of this shit because he's forsaken family. He's forsaken normal things. He's had the time to read books and do exercises and work out and do all sorts of shit to the point where he is physically able. And he was checking his blood pressure there. God damn. There's a David Fincher film that just came out about a sniper where he checks his blood pressure before he goes into a job. This movie predates that by fucking 6 years at least. Okay? And Marty's like, I did the Detectorists. I want to go to the Lovecraft fishing village. Which one is it? Why don't you smell my wife's pussy again? And Rust's like, dude, that's the most pathetic fucking jab. But then we cut to him later on as an older man, and he's like, I understand. I understand what Rust sacrificed. I get it. I know why he behaved the way he did. But only in retrospect, you know. Hindsight is 2020. So here he's talking to some fucking hicks in a shitty fucking mechanic shop. And finally Marty is, 20 years after this, he's like, this motherfucker knew when people were hiding shit and how to extract it. He's like, these guys are fucking bullshitting. They're some kind of hick pricks. And they've been to the whorehouse. They know where it is. He's like, I just have to beat the shit out of you to get you to tell me. Because you've been raised in a culture where violence is punishment. And that is a ape brain, lizard brain, unevolved, Cro-Magnon shit culture. Say what you want about social credits and money. Both of those things are evil systems that can be misused. But their precursor is this, which is violence. Violence used to be, and still is for a lot of people, the only motivator. Which is you have to beat someone up to get them to tell the truth. That is a heinous truth that this movie, this series, which is really, it's an 8-hour movie, tries to incept to you. It's that, well, there's a little bit of a value to violence, but only when you're dealing with unevolved ancient people. If you're dealing with evolved people, you gotta do something else, which Marty does later on in this series. He's expert at it. He gives a guy a bottle of scotch. I'll give away the epic scene from later. He bribes a guy with a bottle of scotch and says, if I give you this, will you tell me what I need to know? That's a more evolved way of doing things where you don't have to beat the shit out of somebody to get some information. You can just give them something. Isn't that better? I mean, would you, as a person, as a viewer watching this, as one of my 2 or 3 agents watching this, would you rather have your head caved in for an answer, or would you rather accept a gift, right? Duh, you know? That's what this show is saying. So here they are. They're finally at the whorehouse. They've found the secret backwoods, dirty swamp pussy ranch. And she's totally undeterred. She's like, so many senators have come here, man. You can't shut this place down. Like, I'm not even yeah, she's like, I'm not even fucking intimidated by you being here. She's got a cat next to her. She's a witch. She's infected with toxoplasmosis, which makes you want to fuck more. Toxoplasmosis will make you horny more than a normal person will be when it's in your brain, when the toxoplasmosis worms have burrowed into your cerebral tissue. It's funny how witches always were associated with cats. Isn't that funny? No one's ever commentated upon that. But that's not what this scene is trying to say. Tips about what? They're monetary tips, you dumbass. Good God, man. The more I watch this show, it's like it's dragging my ass up into adulthood, which is being able to withstand the cynical hell of reality. Rust is right. He's like, if you don't want us to fuck with your business, just tell us what we need to know. He's playing the Baldur's Gate character. He's like, just give me what I need to know. I'll get out of your hair. I'll climb out of your ass if you just tell me what I need to know. Good man. Marty is too sympathetic. He thinks his sympathy will change the situation, which it won't. And here's the scene that exemplifies that. He's like, she's 16. This woman's like, are you fucking serious, dude? Like, you think underage trade is non-existent? You think you're gonna solve it? You're gonna fix it? You're gonna end it? So you are so fucking arrogant, man. Like, it shouldn't exist. It shouldn't be. But you are gonna be the avenging angel that ends everything? Your ego is up your own ass, man. God damn. You don't own it the way you thought you did. That is skull splitting. That is soul rending. That line of dialogue is well written because it's true. That is fucked how true that is. You don't own it the way you thought you did. My God, man. And he gives this chick a bunch of money. As if that's gonna help. As if giving her money, like all her clients were, is gonna change her mind. He's like, I'll give you $100. But later in the series, maybe that pays off. Maybe it doesn't. We'll have to see. You'll have to watch my other reviews of the subsequent episodes of this show. And again, Marty is like, well, Rust, you're impeding on my morals. And Rust's like, I'm just trying to solve the fucking case, man. Like, what are you, a retard? Do you want to solve the case or not? That's the priority here. Is to get shit done. Yellow King. You have a woman standing next to a yellow light. God damn, that is something I didn't notice. Yeah, no shit, Marty. Yeah, it's almost like he's drugging them. Why wouldn't he be? Vampire lords will drug their thralls with anything, Zoloft, whatever. Vampire lords will give their thralls whatever they think they need to have to be effective thralls. So Russ is basically admitting here is, he's like, I just became a junkie. I became a fucking idiot so I could do my job, so I could serve my masters. So he's saying, he's like, I became their narco whore. I became their Project Monarch little tool. And what did that do to my life? It's like they offered him, you could retire and have whatever you want. And he's like, no, I need purpose. I need to live. I need to be here. I need to do something. I need to do good. I'd rather do that than be comfortable. This desolate fucking landscape. I could say a bunch of shit about that, about like parasites and stuff, but honestly, guys, I lack the energy. The many are of one parasite, but the parasite is of many bodies. So blah 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 blah. You can be a fungus parasite or a liver fluke, or you can be a gut parasite or a brain parasite, whatever you want. There you go. This fucking red-clad Republican-type grandpa dude, he's like, well, the people are yelling about their rights. And you should spell that R-I-T-E-S, not R-I-G-H-T-S. If you want to understand how the world works, on a fundamental level, replace the word rights, R-I-G-H-T-S, with the word rights, R-I-T-E-S. And this fucking tranny mom who's like, I'm definitely not a man. I'm definitely a woman. Blah, 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 blah. Your dad's definitely straight. You weren't adopted from a creepy baby farm. I'm definitely your real mother.
These kids these days, they play Dark Souls and they use the bonk weapon. How can you not claim that society's fallen? Billions must die.
That's this guy. Man, he picked the most passive-aggressive cunt of a wife. If she can't understand that his job provides her with the income to have heat and air conditioning and food in her fucking house, why is she so passive-aggressive to him? Why is he such a fucking cunt? God! I'll say it. Despite the utility that Marty's wife has in the narrative of this season of this show, he picked a shit wife who is self-important and arrogant more than fucking Marty is. And Marty's an arrogant fuck. Why would you pick an equally arrogant wife? Maybe it's because you didn't understand yourself. And you understand, oh, maybe I should pick a partner who contrasts my strengths and weaknesses instead of reinforcing them. Fucking idiot. And poor Rust, he's doing the actual detective work. This is the real shit. Then we have Marty. You don't know you're lying, dumbass. Lie to her the way she wants you to lie to her, instead of the way you want to lie to yourself. That's the trick. Here's my advice. If a woman is prompting you to give her a story, do this. Lie to her the way you would lie to yourself, instead of the way you think she deserves to be lied to. Because you're going to lie to her anyway, because you're a Cthulhuoid vampire octopus fucking idiot anyway, right? That's what you are. If you're listening to this, that's what you are. Don't ask her about this. Don't become a cuck. Don't play the victim. Just say what you would say to yourself if you were her. Put yourself in her position for a fucking second. It's not rocket science. You don't have to travel to another planet to understand women. You just have to not disrespect them. That's all. Selective deafness. That's a hell of a linguistic spike there. But good for him. He comes back there. He's like, your mom doesn't even like you. Why should I fuck you? But then he's like, ah, shit, that was too dark a magic spell. I've been too overzealous in my magical abilities. I better capitulate to the female lord. He's like, I'll ignore my daughters involving themselves in weird sexual shit. I'm an idiot. I will look at that and ignore it. Like a moron. And at the same time, Rust is like, I'm glad my daughter never had to have her first period. She never had to bleed. She never had to deal with any of this crap. She was spared through death. In a Vampiro Toothus Infernalis type of scenario, his daughter was spared. She didn't have to deal with any of this. Maybe it wouldn't have benefited her to deal with it in the first place. Maybe that system is fucked. So she painlessly left. She came here, she looked around for a bit as a human, and then she went back to the depths. She went back to the Mariana Trench. Back to what she considers heaven, which is the bottom of the sea. And Russ makes such a poignant point here. I know it's kind of a meme, it's kind of melodramatic. I don't give a fuck. He says, if you rip a conscious mind out of the ether and force it into a body, if you are so confident in your active reproduction that you rape a soul down here, you better be goddamn ready to deal with the ramifications of that. And if you're not, then you've committed a cosmic sin in bringing something down here that you weren't willing to raise. You weren't willing to pay attention to it, to give it counsel, whatever. I love this shit too. It's like, we're from the Christcock Federation and we're here to represent the Christcocks. And finally, the fucking detective's like,
Don't fuck with the Christ fags. They're some of our best thralls. They adhere to a certain cultural and religious narrative, and if you try to fuck with it, you're just gonna fuck with our efforts.
meanwhile, Rust is like, motherfucker, these people are just raping and murdering and burying kids, and you have no fucking authority. There's no justice. I mean, it's pure clown world, man. I would react the same way Rust is. He's like, only Marty saying that that you should be here is why you're here. And it's like, you know what? Neither of you should be here then, man. Just let them rot, man. Let them rape and murder kids with abandon. Major Ken Quesada. Ah, the cheesy Ken. That dripping, greasy plastic cheese. I'm sure he's the authority that should determine what everybody does in this county. What a fat idiot.
I got fat senators on the Epstein plains that are telling me that they don't want you to say no to what I'm saying yes to.
That's basically what this is. Oh yeah, it's his call. Sure it is. He raises his hand like a fucking pedantic fuck. I would have done the same, man.
What are you? Okay, Daddy, can I tell you the truth about how your children are being kidnapped and raped and you don't care?
And again, Marty saves Rust's ass here. He does something very admirable. He's like, okay, give me this schizo Jesus clone. He's like, give me a sec. Give me a minute to try to rein this guy in. And then we pass forward, and it's like he's just bullshitting. This older Marty, he's just bullshitting. It has nothing to do with the truth of what happened. The irony is that he's now realized that the strategy Rust used 20 years earlier is the strategy to use, because Vampiroteuthis Infernalis brained squid hellspawn beings subsist on lies. So if your lies are better than somebody else's lies, you win. That's it. That's all it is. It's dark, it's shitty, it's stupid, but that's what he's realized. And he knows that. And in the modern cut that we just went to. But now we're back in the 90s. We're back in the dominion of unknowing. I love the sunglasses, man. Oh shit, okay, this is where they find the swamp rotted, creepy pedo church. So they stumble upon a particular Discord server represented by this church, which is a rotted pedo hive. Man, 90s cars look better than the current ones, man. They're just so much worse. Russ looks up and he's like, they're forming a pedo spiral. It's like Pizzagate, get it? I'm fucking high all the time. Don't pay attention to my interpretations. They're totally invalidated. Yeah, and he admits it here. So it's a creepy church. It's almost as if religion has been co-opted by pedo-vampiric freaks, and that you shouldn't join any organized religion unless you want your children to be utilized as little meat sacks for this kind of shit. That's what this series is saying. May not be true in reality, but that's what the series is saying. And in certain parts of the world, I'm sure, it is true. There's an owl up in the rafters, if you didn't see that a second ago, looking down on them. The Twin Peaks owl interpretation, that, I'll never be able to outlive that. That is a creepy thing. The owls are not what they seem. They're alien or angel beings looking down on us, voyeuristically, like the moon in the Truman Show. Man, I haven't watched this in a while. This is great to see this again. Marty going back to the wall, and he realizes there's a mural here. There's a cave painting. There's something fucked up. There's a Lilith, evil witch demon woman painting here. He's like, I thought I was nuts, but then there that is. Now I know I'm sane and the rest of you are nuts. Fucking child-eating mother. There she is. We see her. Two suns, one under the water, one in the sky. It's like the fucking white dwarf star at the center of the hollow earth versus the regular sun. That's my last schizo reference, guys. I'm out of energy. I'm out of mojo. So as the credits roll there, I'm going to say thank you for watching. This recording was a bit scuffed, but I do hope that it was good for you. I hope you enjoy this series. It's a very good series. And I hope you're doing well in your life. Drink some water, take some vitamin D, vitamin C, vitamin B. Those are good things. They're good for you. And, as always, guys, peace out.